So what I realized is that our thoughts play on repeat in our mind. And the way in which these thoughts happen to play on repeat they keep looping in our head. It's pretty weird. Like our whole life, we've had this dialogue within ourselves. And it's usually like two voices, our own voices. And it's almost like these voices, the words that come in are like based on our memories and our past trauma, or just information and memory in general, and it just keeps looping through our consciousness. The issue is that when it does that, it causes emotional triggers within us because we're unable to identify that these are just random memories floating around in our head. So whenever we get certain memories, it causes certain pain or certain whatever, and a narrative starts getting created in our own head because we start running with this random thoughts. And what I'm saying is these random thoughts seem to be playing on some sort of loop, energetic loop, depending on what energy you're in. Like if you're in an energy similar to the thing you're thinking about, then those thoughts will just randomly start popping in your head at that time. There's different layers to it, so it's quite interesting. And I think the most important thing to know is that do not identify yourself with those thoughts. It's so important because they're just random thoughts that are playing on loop from your past or whatever, and they're just going into your head playing on loop. Or whatever, any information. Like you could watch something last week and something in that show sort of starts playing in loop on your head, and you can think about that and start to relate your life towards everything else within regards to that. So it's weird. It's like there's all this information out here, and basically we pick up this information throughout time. So not only memories and traumas, whatever, but actual information as well. And we pick this information up, and we don't realize it, but it plays in a loop in our head, depending on what energy you're in. So when you learn how to identify yourself from those feelings and those energies, then whenever, let's say, that loop begins, you start going down this whatever fear pathway or whatever in your mind, you have to realize at that time that it's literally just an energy that you just somehow has occurred, / emotion, energy, emotion. And this memory or energy is causing you to all of a sudden start having certain subconscious random thoughts, not actually that random, but actually relative towards whatever energy it is you happen to feel in. So when you realize that, whoa, actually the reason I'm thinking about certain things is because for whatever reasons I'm feeling a certain energy / emotion that's causing sort of like this reaction in terms of memories and thoughts and subconscious thoughts within regards to that energy. It's interesting. It's like each situation is almost like a memory energy construct. And we within ourselves. And they float around, I suppose, in our subconscious, and we randomly feel certain things throughout the day, and then naturally we try to think our way out of it, which is weird. So the energy comes and then you start thinking one way based on that energy, what it's presenting to you and how you're interpreting it. So most of the time we're absolutely exhausting our own minds because we're unable to tell, like, and it's not really humans' fault, we haven't really been taught this, but it's weird, we haven't been taught how our fucking mind works, but basically, subconscious loops of thoughts, just looping through your mind based on what energy you're in. And whatever energy you're in, whatever thoughts are relative towards that energy or slash memory energy construct will play on loop until you realize, oh, this is just an energy, don't need to hold on to that, put that away. And then all of a sudden, now you're back in control of your thoughts again, and therefore back in control of your emotions. So the key to mind control is managing your thoughts and managing your fear. And I would go ahead and say that, mind control is the most important thing to do, because it really is the only way in which one can actually eliminate internal suffering, by identifying these energies and these thoughts as not being you, but sort of subconscious energy slash memory energy constructs floating around your subconscious, your subfield, I like to call it. And yeah, so when you realize that, it's not so serious the next time when this memory energy construct starts playing certain thoughts on loop, whether they're new thoughts or old thoughts, recent thoughts or older thoughts. So when you realize that, release that energy, realize it's just an energy, and realize those thoughts don't actually provide any proof within regards to reality based on what it is you may be assuming based on the thoughts that are playing on repeat throughout your mind within regards to which emotion slash energy construct or energy memory construct that you're relating to, like memory, and what emotions that memory carries. That's why I call it an energy memory construct. Okay. Because it's an emotive energy memory construct. And emotions, energy. Emotions are energy, basically. So when you learn to realize that, you learn how to start managing your own energy, therefore your own emotions, which are one and the same thing, as I said. When you can do that, then you won't let these negative thought cycles play over and over in your head, and believing them because of the energy in which those thoughts come with, or the energy that even provided the space for them to start playing on some sort of random algorithmic loop in your mind. And yeah, basically, when you realize that, it makes life a lot easier, because when those energies come, you're just like, nope, I'm not entertaining any of those fucking thoughts. Comes with that energy, those thoughts have no substantial evidence or proof. I'm not going to entertain my mind on some random imaginings based on what's essentially floating around in my subconscious field, is ultimately what it is that I'm saying. So learning not to entertain my subconscious, because if you randomly entertain your subconscious with these random schisms of thoughts and directions of thought without actually controlling your thought, in order to control your emotions and not imagine shit that's actually not happening, or perceiving life in a way that's unpleasant as opposed to happy and fulfilling, because it ultimately all comes down to perception. So this is a perception I'm giving you, that anytime any negative thoughts start playing in your mind, consider what sort of energy you feel to be in, and then take into consideration which thoughts may be playing on loop, and then realize that those thoughts have nothing to do with reality. They're just an energy memory construct which is playing random fucking thoughts in your mind on repeat, and they have no substantial evidence or proof. And if you do believe they do, then ultimately you're entertaining your subconscious, and you're ultimately having an unfettered mind, right? And you don't want an unfettered, unchained mind. You want a mind that is in your control. You don't want your mind to control you. Okay, because if you're not in control of your own mind, you're not in control of your own emotions, and ultimately you are going to experience life in a way in which it is that you would not like to, because it's unpleasant. And it's always unpleasant when we entertain these thoughts that emerge from these memory energy constructs that come in, floating around our subconscious fields, coming into our body, because somehow our thoughts have randomly led back in a certain direction, imagining things of a certain regard, which create a certain energy, and that energy facilitates that internal dialogue and conversation further. So what I'm saying is, don't entertain that dialogue and whatever further, because then you'll start imagining all sorts of shit that's not true. And what humans generally do, and what we all do, is we generally imagine the worst, and because of that, I guess people live in a lot of anxiety and angst, and not really feeling totally comfortable. So key to happiness. There's many keys, but this is one of them. The most important one, actually. Because it all comes down to your thoughts and your psychology. If your psychology is playing random negative shit in your head all the time, of course it's gonna fucking make you sad. Especially if you're gonna start believing these random negative thoughts playing around in your head. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the only one that really plays mind games with us is ourselves, to be honest with you. Because we're continually telling ourselves stuff all the time and assuming stuff and having these internal dialogues and discussions and so forth and so on. It's weird. Sorry. I don't know what the fuck's going on with my face. Weird. What? Who knows? Anyway, so yeah. See, here we go. Random internal fucking memory energy construct looking at my face, physical appearance, brings up certain energy. That certain energy starts creating some sort of random negative thoughts. You start telling yourself a story in your own head, and then all of a sudden you are training your own energy because you're giving it away to these subconscious imaginings in your mind instead of rather imagining positive things, ultimately. And I guess it's just getting used to that. Programming your mind, ultimately. To not entertain fucking subconscious negative bullshit. And then you won't have subconscious negative emotions and feelings that randomly pop up and feel like you have no control over your emotions when you do. But it is an art. It's most certainly an art. And but I believe anyone can do it. Everyone's got a mind. Every single human on this earth's got a mind. And I believe everyone actually can do it. Actually, it's not rocket science. It's just realizing that subconscious shit that's pumping through your head, like, it's coming with an energy. The energy is creating the subconscious pattern of thoughts. Just block it out. Be like, negative, transmute, bye. And then replace it. Something positive, something better, something good. And then you feel good all the time. If you want to control your emotions, you have to control your thoughts. Anyway, so here's where I'm just out here watching the ocean. It's really beautiful. And that's another thing. I'm trying to stay as close to nature as possible because it does things to me. A lot of things. And it actually helps me gain more control over my mind. That's a great thing about nature, actually. It helps you gain control over your own mind. It's fucking amazing. And then less does that random subconscious negative shit pump into your head. Like, if you're in certain settings or certain environments, certain situations, family, friends, whatever. In those situations, certain energies can flow through you, and then you experience a random energy memory construct, which creates certain bodily sensations as well as certain subconscious emanations within regards to the thought that all of a sudden starts playing through your head in different scenarios and situations based on the entire compromisation of how you think it is you are, how lucky you feel or how unlucky you feel. Like, it's not really about luck, it's just about faith, really, knowing that everything's okay, right? Because that is ultimately the ultimate emotion and ultimate place you want to be at. Ultimately. You want to be in a constant state of like, everything's good right now. And so therefore you don't have to entertain any of these random negative thoughts in any situations, environments or whatever. But it does help to be in your own space, because it is very hard to actually control your mind around people. So you have to spend a lot of time by yourself controlling your mind, because then it's quieter, then you don't have any additional information being given to you or whatever the case may be, and you're in your own space to be able to start realizing these certain things and processing these certain emotions in order to grow. But it's also good to be with people as well, But I think before people focus on socializing, it really is important to give all your time to yourself. Give all your time to yourself. With your emotions, with programming your mind. Because ultimately, that's the best investment you can ever make. Programming your mind. Because your mind's going to determine your life. Or your state of experience of your life. Because you could experience anything, but it depends on how your mind feels within regards to how much it is that you'll enjoy that thing or not. Anyway, thanks guys.